Hello fellow collectors, I hope you're all doing really well today. I'll start this one off with a quick walk through my recent Eureka Haul. If you've watched my recent video where I discussed Eureka as a distributor, you'll have heard me say that I wanted to focus a bit more on collecting Eureka titles, and this is mainly because I wanted to expand my collection of the Masters of Cinema line in particular. And well, as you can see, I've certainly done that, with all these titles arriving just over the last couple of weeks. Now, I'll be honest that these pickups are mostly inspired by panic buying. A couple of weeks back, Eureka seemed to be announcing each day on their Twitter a new title that was going out of print. And after the third day of this, I got worried and thought, how many of their titles are actually going out of print here? And well, as a result of that panic, I decided to buy a chunk of their titles that I'd had my eye on for some time, and that I really didn't want to lose out on. It was only after I made a couple of big purchases that I saw Eureka had actually put on their website the 9 titles that were actually going out of print, 7 of which were from the Blu-rays. And the majority of what I bought was in fact safe and staying in print. Well, nevertheless, I'm happy that I picked up a lot of their titles, and it's been really great getting stuck into them. I took the opportunity from that momentum to also pick up a few of their classics, and in particular some Hong Kong films that I've been really keen to see. So let's get into the haul, and as usual with my hauls, the large majority here are blind buys. First up, we have Sunrise, which also happens to be spine number 1, a classic of silent cinema from F.W. Murnau. Next, La Planète Sauvage, or in English, A Fantastic Planet, which is actually one that I've seen, hence why I've been wanting to pick it up for quite a while, which was just a truly, truly wonderful film. I wasn't sure what to expect going into this one, but it was absolutely wonderful. It was, to make a pun, fantastic. And I watched it originally on the BFI streaming service, so I'm really keen to see what this one looks like on Blu-ray. Next up is another one that I've actually seen that I didn't want to lose out on, that I needn't have worried about, of course, is M from Fritz Lang, which I believe is his first sound picture. And this, though of course it's an incredibly dark subject matter, it was incredible, really, really thrilling, and just an amazing watch. Highly, highly recommended from me if you've never seen this absolutely astonishing classic. And I mean, considering this was made in, I believe was 31? Yeah, 1931, it really, really holds up. Truly, truly amazing filmmaking. Next, we've got Two Lane Blacktop, which has been on my list to pick up for quite a while, ever since I watched a YouTuber talking about it, and just talking about how good they thought it was. So glad to finally get this one. Next up is Wings, another silent cinema classic, and as you can see here, the first ever Academy Award winner, which is quite interesting. And what attracted me to this one in particular, it's probably a very famous shot, I'm sure many of you might have seen it, where the camera goes in between this range of couples who must be sitting in a cafe or a restaurant, and it sort of manages to go just over the tables in between the couples and then finally lands on what I'm guessing is the main couple here. But it's such an incredible shot and really incredibly creative, and what must have been baffling for the audience to watch how they did it back when this was released. Next up is another silent cinema classic, The Thief of Baghdad here. Then we've got Stalag 17, which I have actually watched already. I watched this quite quickly after it came in. And one from Billy Wilder, and I'm trying to, ideally I'd like to get all of Billy Wilder's films that are in the Masters of Cinema collection. And what I thought was really interesting here, just as an aside, is that Otto Preminger actually stars in it. He's this chap here, who is a very famous film noir director. So I was really interested, obviously, by Billy Wilder, but also to see Otto Preminger act in a film. Not my favourite Billy Wilder, not by a long shot, but definitely worth watching. Then we've got The Friends of Eddie Coyle, which I was attracted to just because of Robert Mitchum. It's been on my list to get for a little while now, and every time I watch him in a film, it's just incredible. He's a really, really amazing actor, and yeah, often terrifying. And as this one is what I believe is a gangster film, I thought this would be a great one to watch. And then last from this pile is Eureka from Eureka, which I always find funny. But this is one of the titles that was going out of print, and I'd heard good things about this one as well, so it'd been on my list, and this sort of recent out of print business just made me want to pick it up before I didn't have the chance to. And an incredible cast on this one. I mean, Rutger Hauer, Mickey Rourke, and obviously Gene Hackman, Theresa Russell. Enough said, I think. Well, that's one pile down. We'll head into the next pile here, which, if I've numbered these correctly, we're going in number order in case anyone's wondering. Well, I suppose if we are going in number order, then the next one probably is Edward Munch. Or Edvard Munch, I suppose. Just to keep these from falling over. There we go. This is another title that was going out of print. Never heard of this one before at all. Had no idea what this was about, but as you can see, the first line here was enough to get me interested. Described by Ingmar Bergman as a work of genius, and really that was all I needed to read to want to pick this one up. So I was glad to get this one. Really keen to check this one out, actually. And then hopefully I can slip this one in without things falling over. Lovely. And then to return. So Kess, which will be my first Ken Loach film that I've seen. Never seen any of his films before. Of course, this one is what I believe is a bit of a British classic. I've had, again, with most of these titles, had my eye on it for quite a while. Then Twilight's Last Gleaming. Also, I believe that I am familiar with the story of this one, but I've never actually seen it. So I've been wanting to pick it up just to check it out. Of course, Burt Lancaster, Richard Widmark, and Robert Aldrich as the director. That's really all we need, isn't it? On to Death in the Garden, which is another one of the titles that was going out of print. And really all that I needed on this one was to know that Louis Buñuel directed it. And if anyone watched my favourite pickups video from 2021, I talk a bit about the Studio Canal box set from with Buñuel films and how it was just an incredible journey to go through. So really keen to see more of his filmography here. Then onto The Morning Forest, just to expand some of my Japanese cinema in my collection. Following on, if I can arrange these properly. Ellie, I'm going to butcher his name, Hauso Sien, I believe. 3 films here from his early filmography. Cute Girl, The Green Green Grass of Home, and The Boys from, again, Feng Kuei. As I'll discuss in a moment when I get to the films, I've been watching a bit more of Chinese cinema, Hong Kong cinema. During last year, I watched some Taiwanese cinema, and Hauso Sien, I believe, is from Taiwan. So really keen to get into this set and check out some of his early films. Next up, No Way Out. Didn't know anything about this one, aside from the fact that it's written by Joseph L. Mankiewicz. And though I haven't actually seen David Fincher's film, I'm certainly interested in watching it when I have the time. Next, a film noir with Burt Lancaster, Crisscross. If anyone's watched my videos, you'll know I love film noir, so enough said on why I bought that one. And to end this pile, 5 Graves to Cairo, another Billy Wilder. And then let's get stuck on to the middle. So in the middle here, I've put some of the Hong Kong cinema titles that I've picked up recently. And two of these, Made in Hong Kong and PTU, are part of the Masters of Cinema line. And then Full Alert, Millionaire's Express and Wild Search are all from the Eureka Classics line. So we'll finish off Masters of Cinema here. Let's go with PTU first. And I have actually watched all of these films already. I got into them straight away. PTU I didn't love. This was the first Johnny To film that I saw, or that I've seen. Subsequently I watched Throwdown, which again is not something that I loved, unfortunately, but certainly an interesting filmmaker. And then Made in Hong Kong, filmed by Fruit Chan, who I'd not heard of before. This was a really interesting one. Quite enjoyed this one, actually. Here's the real test to see if I can get these slipcovers back on without any problems on camera. I'm guessing the answer is probably no. There we go. Next up, Full Alert, which was the first film that I'd ever seen from Ringo Lam, which was really enjoyable. I really liked this one a lot. Very good story. Very thrilling. That one was easy to get on. And then Millionaire's Express, which also comes with, it's just exactly the same, though it's a big poster with the front cover on, though it does have the original artwork on the back, which is nice. I think, is that, no, it doesn't have it inside, but it does have different artwork. But anyway, this one was really good, really funny. I haven't seen a Sammo Hung film for years and years, so this was really interesting to get into. And yeah, definitely quite enjoyed this one a lot, and definitely got a good few laughs out of this one. And some incredible stunts, actually. I mean, the chap basically backflips off a 2-story building, and I think I couldn't quite believe my eyes. We're so used to CGI these days, but my goodness, there's no CGI in these. And then last but not least, and my favourite out of all of the Hong Kong films that I bought and that I've seen so far, I won't take it off because it's the same artwork, is Wild Search, another film by Ringo Lam with Chow Yun-fat. And this was fantastic, a sort of wonderful mix of romance with thriller and sort of police drama as well. It was absolutely incredible. Loved every single second of this one. I was really, really glad to get it. And there we go. Not the most polished, but hopefully you got a good idea of everything that I've got. So that's the end of the haul, and as you can see, there are a lot of new titles for me, which leads me nicely into my updates / plans going forward for the immediate future. So it's been on my mind since the latter part of last year, when I had managed to get down to just about 40 titles left on my watch list, that I'd like to get to a stage where I've watched all of the films from my watch list before I buy any new titles. I'm sure most of us have thought about that at one time or another, but my goodness, there are just so many incredible films to pick up. Sales happen, or in the course of our cinema journey, we discover a new passion for a genre or a director, and it just becomes this never-ending cycle of buying new films at a pace which far outweighs how fast we're watching them. And before you know it, your watch list is just out of control. Well, with these recent pickups, my boutique watch list is currently sat at 93 titles, soon to be 94 when Eureka's Time and Tide finally makes its way to my door. For me, that's enough. So with that idea in mind, that also contributed to the size of this Eureka haul, as I thought, this is going to be my last haul / pickups for quite some time, so I'll definitely make it a good one. As a slight disclaimer, the only titles that I've decided I will continue to pick up are some specific Manta Lab releases that I'm interested in, due to their incredibly limited nature. I currently have just 2 on pre-order, and they have just a few releases this year that I really want to get, but certainly not close to all of their planned titles, and of course they release their titles very slowly. So with that in mind, my aim is not to have any more haul videos until I've watched every single film in my collection that I've not seen. And I thought if I make a video about it as well, then I'm more likely to stick to it. First up for me is to finish what is outstanding in my Criterion collection, which hopefully you can see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And actually I've already started this journey, so I've actually watched Diabolique, or is it Les Diaboliques? Just Diabolique. And Tokyo Drifter already over the last 2 days, and I'll get into the rest of these 5 over the next few days. And lastly, I just wanted to thank everyone who has subscribed to my channel. I've just reached 100 subscribers, or 101 at the moment, which feels wonderful and really quite a milestone. So thank you everyone from number 1 to number 101. I appreciate each one of you. I really love making these videos, and I really hope that you enjoy watching them. Well, that wraps things up from me. Happy watching everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.